Hi guys, welcome back to my summer 2024 declutter series. Today we are tackling my blush collection. I have 28 blushes, which is way too many, just way too many. And these are all of my cream and liquid blushes. These are my powder blushes. I have way more cream and liquid than I do powder, as you can see. That makes sense because I would say I prefer cream blush. I usually reach for a cream blush over a powder. At least this time of year I do. So it makes sense that I have a lot of cream blushes, but I don't think it makes sense to have quite this many. And I do think there's a lot of overlap. And I definitely have a type when it comes to blush colors, as you'll see when we start swatching these out. I don't know how many I'm going to get rid of, but I will go ahead and say I do want this to be a pretty cutthroat declutter for me. I'm not saying I'm going to get rid of half of them. That would be great, but I would like to at least try to get rid of a third. Let's start with the cream and liquid category, and then we'll do powders. Out of my 28 blushes are cream and liquid. Let me actually open these up and sort of categorize them by shade. So we have, I'm going to do a category for nude, we have pink, then some coral. I do have some similar coral shades. That we have some red. These are all my nude blushes. Then I have a couple of pinks. These are my corals, and these are all variations on red. Let's start with pink because I don't have a lot of these. First we have the About Face cream blush in the shade Laid, which is, I guess, I don't know what you would call this pink. It's kind of a hot pink, but it's definitely not as cool toned. I really don't like the way this swatches. It looks so patchy. It definitely applies more elegantly to the cheeks, but it like clings to all my hair on my hand. And then this is the Lawless cream blush in Gumdrop. The two formulas actually are kind of similar. These both have a matte finish, like a blurred matte finish, and they have kind of like a silky, velvety feel to them. You can see the Lawless one is much more cool toned, like a very blue-based bubblegum pink. I have already decided I'm going to pass on the About Face cream blush in Laid. There's something about this color that I don't find flattering at all on me, even though it does have some warmth to it, and I do usually like warm tones. I don't know, on my skin tone I just find the color kind of gaudy and overly harsh. So, you know, I'm sure this color would look beautiful on someone else, but I just can't, I don't know. I've really tried. I do like the formula of this, and I've kept it for a long time just because it's like a unique color to my collection, but that's not always a good reason to keep something, and I just don't see myself ever even coming close to using this up. So we're gonna let go of that. I am gonna keep this Lawless Gumdrop shade though. This is really the first really blue-based pink that I've tried in a very long time, and I actually like it more than I thought I would. It's definitely not like an everyday color for me, but it is a lot of fun. Like, it's just a fun, cute, youthful color, and I thought I didn't like bubblegum pink because of this About Face blush, I think, for a long time, but I'm actually enjoying this Lawless one a lot more. So we'll keep the Lawless and pass on the About Face. Let's look at my coral blushes now. I do feel like these three shades are just too similar to each other to keep all three. This is the LYS cream blush in Kindness. Another matte cream blush, which I really do enjoy. This is super pigmented. You can see like a little goes a long way. Then this is the Sigma cream blush in the shade Pashmina. This is a little bit more of my kind of cream blush formula. It's not quite, I mean, that's a pretty heavy swatch, but it's not quite as pigmented as the LYS. It's more sheer and buildable, but wow, look at how much more pink that looks compared to the LYS one. And then this is the Kaja Dewy Bar in Peach Cobbler. This is very dewy, really lives up to the name. I guess that one is kind of somewhere in between the other two as far as undertone. Like, this one's kind of in the middle. This one is more of a cool coral, and this is more of an orange coral. While I do love warm-toned peach blushes, my favorite are the more nude peaches. These are very bright and bold and just not as much of an everyday color for me. I know this is a petty reason to get rid of something, but the packaging of this LYS blush is just ever so slightly too big and bulky. I think the triangle shape is really cute. I like that they keep that shape consistent across their line. But if this compact were just a tiny bit smaller, I would have no problem with it, but it's just the slightest bit too tall for my Alex drawers and for my desk drawers where I keep my everyday makeup products. So when I rotate this in to my everyday makeup drawer, most products I can stand up like this and the drawer will still close, but this is just so awkwardly tall that it just deters me from reaching for it. And sometimes I just find this color a little bit too orangey on my skin tone. So I just think I don't know, I just have not been giving this the love that it deserves. It is a really beautiful formula and I do like it a lot. I just can't seem to get myself to use it. So I'm gonna let go of that one. I really think I only need to keep one bright coral blush. And honestly, of these three, my heart is telling me that my favorite is the Sigma. And I know it looks really cool toned here in the swatch, but on the cheeks it does pull more of like a warm coral shade. And this is just my favorite formula of the three. You can see it's not dewy like the Kaja, but it's also not a flat matte like the LYS. It has a little bit of a healthy sheen to it. I love how buildable this formula is, so it's just very easy to work with. I don't have to be too careful with it. I would say for cream blush, this is my favorite type of formula. I am going to pass on the Kaja Dewy Bar. I've shared before, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with this, but for some reason, I just don't like using this. I really am kind of tired of twist up stick cheek products, just because I really prefer a compact. I like just being able to dip my brush in a compact. I just find that easiest. You would think the stick format would make it more convenient, but it really doesn't because first of all, it's kind of an awkward shape, and you can't just swipe this on your cheeks or it'll just look patchy, it won't blend out well, so just not my favorite. I do think it's fine. I would probably like it a lot more if it were in a compact, but yeah, this is still quite new, so definitely has a lot of life left in it. Passing on two of my corals and only keeping one. Ooh, we're doing well so far. I'm saving the most overwhelming category of cream blushes for last, as you can see. So these are my red cream blushes. I do love red blush, and I think red is so fun because there are so many different undertones of red. These two are warmer and these are more pinky. So the warm ones I have are the Minori cream blush. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you now, I don't think I'm gonna get rid of any of these because I love all four of them so much. And they're all these shades are really different. The formulas are really different too. So this is the Minori cream blush in the shade Scarlet. I love this blush. You can see this is definitely a sheer buildable formula, which is my personal favorite type of cream blush, especially for a red. You really, red can be kind of scary. Then this is the Ilia Multi-Stick in the shade Dear Ruby, another sheer buildable formula. This one's a little bit warmer even than the Minori one. So fun, especially for summertime. Yeah, I have no intention of getting rid of either of those. Then this is the AOA Studio Plush Blush Gel Liquid Blush in the shade Cumulus. Really fun watermelon red color. Nice and bright. Even though it is bright though, it does sheer out pretty easily. And then this is the Milani Cheek Kiss Cream Blush in Nude Kiss. This is probably the least red of these red blushes, but I feel like it fits in this category. Yeah, it's almost like a more sheer version of the AOA. I love this one. This has been a favorite for so long, and I do not want to get rid of it. So yeah, all four of those reds are going to stay in my collection. Alright, now for my nude blushes. I'm actually going to break these down into even smaller categories because there's just a lot to go through. These are the more pinky nudes, and these are the more browny peachy nudes. Let's start with the pinky nudes. So this is the Rare Beauty liquid blush in the shade Hope. Beautiful color. Then this is the Say liquid blush in Rosy. Embarrassingly similar to the Rare Beauty. Then this is the Milk Makeup Lip and Cheek in Work. Another, I would say like a rosy peach. This is the Lawless cream blush in the shade Angel. This one I think is a little different from those others. This is the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush in the shade Maui. This is so luminous, like so luminous. Now keep in mind, I love this shade of blush. It's one of my most worn shades, so I don't think it's bad to have a few options. I definitely think, though, I'm ready to pass on this e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush. This is just too luminous for me. I think I've concluded. I don't mind a luminous cheek, but This really does have like, you know, visible speckles of shimmer in it. And I prefer, if I'm gonna have a luminous cheek, I don't necessarily want it to be sparkly or shimmery. Like, you know, the Say, the Rare Beauty, the Milk, all three of these have a glowy finish without having any shimmer particles in them. And this e.l.f. one is just kind of hard. Like, it is really pretty, but because it's so luminous, you have to be really careful how much you're applying, because if you over apply, your cheeks can just get way too metallic way too fast. While I do like the formula of this, I just don't get as excited about it as some of these other ones. So that one I think we can pass on. The other four, I really don't want to get rid of any of them. I'll be honest with you right now. I would say my least favorite of the four is the Say liquid blush. I just find it a little bit sticky, a little bit thicker than the Rare Beauty. And this is huge. This is so big. I really wish that they made minis of this. Maybe they do, but this is, how much comes in here? 0.4 ounces. See, the Rare Beauty I have in a mini, and it's 0.11 ounces, and I think that is just so much more reasonable because it takes forever to go through something this pigmented. And looking at how similar these two are, you know what? I think I have my answer. I did buy both of these with my own money, but even still, the Say one is so new, actually. I bought this in the spring Sephora sale, so it really is quite new, and I would love to pass this on to somebody else because I think as you can see, I have enough of this type of shade, and it's just my least favorite formula of all of these. So yeah, I'm sad to let go of this, but like I said in my first declutter video, really the biggest goal of my declutters is to avoid letting products expire in my collection. So I just don't see this being something that I could ever use up before it expires, especially considering that Say kind of brands themselves as a clean beauty brand, so I'm not sure how long their products hold up. I didn't expect to be getting rid of this, but I just think it makes sense to get rid of it. I will go ahead and keep all three of these though because I really enjoy them. The nice thing about the Milk Makeup one is it actually is meant for both the lips and the cheeks, so it is lip safe, and I really like this color on both my lips and my cheeks. Keeping all three of those. Saving my favorite category of cream blush shades for last. These are my more peachy and brownish nude colors, so I'll go ahead and swatch them all, but I kind of already have some thoughts. This is a Franken blush shade. It contains 3 different products in it. The e.l.f. O-Face lipstick in No Doubt, the Wet n Wild lipstick in Skinny Dipping, and the NYX Wonder Stick highlighter in Fair. This is another shade that I just love to death. This is the Tower 28 cream blush in Magic Hour. Kind of similar, a little bit less brown. Then I have the Ilia multi-stick in the shade Dreamer. Adore this shade. Really beautiful brownie peach. Then I have the e.l.f. Camo liquid blush in Peach Perfect. So cute. I love this color so much. And then these two are more like a whipped mousse cream blush. This is the Kaja Whipped Dream in Meringue Pink. And then this is the NYX Sweet Cheeks in Nude Tude. Oh, I love this one. This is one of my favorites in the fall and winter specifically. Oh, so beautiful. Okay, so I already have quite a few thoughts and feelings on these blushes. So I think you can already guess where this is going, but I am going to get rid of this Franken blush. I used to love making Franken products, and I have to say, okay, a couple things. The main reason I'm getting rid of this is because of the shape of the compact, and that was my bad, because I should have remembered that I didn't like this compact. This used to have just the LYS Triple Fix Translucent Setting Powder in it, but it's the same style, same shape and everything as that other LYS cream blush. And again, I know it's kind of a petty reason to get rid of something, but the packaging is just too awkward and bulky. I'm not going to pass this on to someone else. I think I'm just going to clean it out and recycle the compact. By the way, Ulta now has, I think all Ulta locations now have a beauty recycling drop box. I'll link below the website where it says what they accept, but they accept, I think, pretty much most types of beauty packaging that aren't, you know, curbside recyclable. So that's where I plan to take my empty packaging from now on. Super convenient. The other thing, I used to love making Franken products, and I've been following some cosmetic chemists on Instagram, and I guess I'm a little bit more reticent to do Franken stuff now, especially with cream products. Now, I didn't do well in chemistry in school, so I prefer to leave this kind of stuff up to the experts. And from what I've gathered by following, I'll link below some of my favorite cosmetic chemists to follow on Instagram, but from what I've gathered, when you mix liquid or cream products together, it can render the preservatives ineffective after a certain amount of time. So I do kind of worry, like, are the products I'm mixing together reacting? Are the preservatives no longer going to be effective? Could this cause me to break out? Like, there's just all these questions I have in my head now about specifically cream Franken products. I'm just a little bit more hesitant to make Franken products. I think I would still be fine with powder Franken products, but maybe not creams anymore, creams and liquids, just because, like, chemistry is kind of spooky when you think about it. Things can create chemical reactions. You know, you're mixing completely different formulas together that weren't necessarily meant to be mixed together. So I do just wonder, you know, how long is something like this going to stay safe to use? I don't actually know the answer. So I probably won't do cream Franken products again. And, you know, it was fun. It was a fun little experiment. I do like the shade that it created, but I have plenty of other similar shades, as you can see. So I don't think I'm going to miss this. I definitely do want to keep this Tower 28 cream blush in Magic Hour. I just love this color. I find it so incredibly flattering. It just really warms up my complexion beautifully, and it's just one of my favorite types of shades to wear. So definitely keeping that. I'm also definitely keeping this Ilia Multi-Stick in Dreamer. This is like the most warm-toned nude blush that I have, and like I said, I love, even though I don't love stick cheek products, I really enjoy the formula of these Ilia ones. I mean, they'd be even better if they were in a compact, but I still really like them, especially because these are, like they say, multi-sticks, so you can also use them on the lips. And I do think the stick just makes it nice and easy to swipe on the lips. And this is just such a great sheer but buildable formula, which is, again, my favorite type of cream blush formula. So, keeping that, obviously keeping my e.l.f. Camo Liquid Blush. I mean, why would I get rid of this? This is one of my favorite products of 2024 so far. So, yeah, it's just such a cute color, too. Out of the rest of these, okay, obviously also not getting rid of the NYX Sweet Cheeks in Nude Tude. It looks really dark on my arm here, but this is just such a great shade in the fall and winter. I love the kind of taupey brown nude color of this. Really unique color for a blush. I do feel like it's kind of hard to find blush shades like this, and I love this formula. It is so, I mean, it still hasn't dried down because this is kind of a heavy swatch, but this does blend out to a matte kind of blurred finish, and it's just stunning. Definitely don't want to get rid of that. So that leaves us with this one. This is the one that I'm not as excited about, and it's the Kaja Whipped Dream in Meringue Pink. Formula is kind of similar to the NYX Sweet Cheeks. I kind of prefer the NYX Sweet Cheeks a little bit better. I do find that the Kaja one can get a little bit patchy sometimes. I like how sheer it is, but it can really be patchy. The NYX one I can just dot directly on my cheeks from the doe foot, which is awesome, whereas the Kaja one I do need to put it on the back of my hand first. The other thing about this is that, I mean, it's not leaking right now, but it leaks this kind of oily substance, and I don't really know what that's about because it's not a very oily formula, but it's like, I don't know, it's gotten separated or something. This, they say you can use as a blush or an eyeshadow. It's another kind of multi-purpose product. I really don't like it as an eyeshadow. It just doesn't last on my eyes. So yeah, out of all of the rest of these, I think this is the least standout formula to me. It's the one I'm least excited about, and I just don't love the formula of it nearly as much as these other ones. So this one I think we can pass on, especially because I'm realizing this shade is really quite similar to that Tower 28 cream blush, and I'm a lot more likely to reach for that one. Okay, so those are all my cream blushes. We'll get into powder next, but first I wanted to show the breakdown of declutters versus keeps for this category. So I'm getting rid of 7 and I'm keeping 13. So that is pretty much a third of my cream blushes. So that was exactly what I was hoping for. And yeah, some of these kind of surprised me, but I feel good about this. Okay, so that brings us to my powder blushes. And I don't have as many of these. If I want to stick to getting rid of a third of my blushes, I've already decluttered 7, so that means I would need to get rid of just 2 more. So if I can get rid of 2 of these, that would be great. I guess to break these down a little bit, these are more warm toned and these are more cool toned. So let's swatch these coolish toned ones first. So that is the Essence Pure Nude Baked Blush in Shimmery Rose. Then we have my Flower Beauty Flower Pots blush in Sweet Pea. That one's really cute. Then we have the Essence, the blush in the shade Befitting. And this is the Jones Road blush in Sandy. I'm just going to go ahead and swatch all of these. So then this is the Milani Baked Blush in Berry Amour. Kind of a warm bronzy peach. And then speaking of warm and bronzy, this is the NYX Buttermelt Bronzer, which I use as blush, in the shade Buttercup. Then this is a really beautiful burnt red. This is the Kokie Soft Gradient Blush in Bellissima, which is really kind of like a two-tone blush. It has a really pale peach that fades into a deep reddish color. Love this one for a sunburnt look. It is very intense. I've been thinking about repressing this one so that it doesn't have a gradient and so that it's just all mixed in, and maybe taking out some of the darker color just because it can get a little bit deep on me if I'm not careful. And then last but not least, this is the Milani Baked Blush in Luminoso. Really pretty. Okay, this is really tough. I am noticing that these two blushes are kind of similar. Essence Befitting and Jones Road Sandy. I used to love this Essence blush so much, but these days it's a little bit too mauve-y for me. I don't always love mauve on myself. It is, you can see, just a little bit deeper than the Jones Road one, which I really think makes all the difference because I really have been enjoying this Jones Road one, even though it's, I guess you could call this a mauve. It's just a little bit more natural looking on my skin tone than the Essence one. So I think this hurts, okay? This hurts, but I think I can declutter the Essence blush in Befitting. My taste has changed, and I just don't find this color flattering on my skin tone anymore, whereas I used to. And I don't think I'm gonna miss this because, like I said, I have that Jones Road one now, and it's so, like, the look I get from the Jones Road one I like more than the Essence, even though the shades themselves, like the undertones, are not that far off. I think the Jones Road one is just a little bit more beige, and I love beige blush. So, also, bonus points that this compact is super small, so it just doesn't take up very much space, and I really like that. So, okay, I didn't think I was gonna get rid of this one, but I think I'm ready. I am going to keep Flower Sweet Pea. It's the only cool pink powder blush that I have, and even though I don't always love cool tones, I do find this color really easy to pull off just because it's so light, and this formula is very forgiving. I mean, I know I built up the swatch pretty heavily, but it's actually really nice and buildable. So that I'm going to keep. I'm definitely keeping my Essence Pure Nude Baked Blush in Shimmery Rose. I love this. This is definitely like a blush lighter. I also find this formula very forgiving. It's very soft, buildable, and just a joy to use. So that I'm keeping. Definitely keeping my NYX Buttermelt Bronzer in Buttercup. I love this for a bronzy blush. Okay, then looking at these last three, I really don't want to get rid of any of these. I love bronzy blushes, and Berry Amour, that's this one here. It's a little bit peachier than the NYX, but not quite as coral as Luminoso. And I feel like this is still really valuable to my collection, so I'm not going to get rid of that. Milani Luminoso, I also don't want to get rid of this. This is just such a beautiful summer blush, and I'm only keeping one really coral cream blush, so I think it'll be nice to have a coral powder blush as well. I do think of this as kind of like a peachy coral. And then Kokie Bellissima, I definitely want to repress and adjust the shade a little bit so it's not quite so dark, but I love this. This is perfect for a sunburnt look. Like, this really is just such a great color for that sun-kissed blush look, and I don't really feel like I have anything else quite like it. So I know I wanted to get rid of two powders, but honestly I also don't want to declutter just for the sake of decluttering if I don't want to get rid of something, you know? So I think I think I'm going to keep all of these and just get rid of that one Essence powder blush. Okay, so the final results of my blush declutter are in, and I am getting rid of 8, which means I'm keeping 20. So I didn't quite get rid of a third of my blushes, but I am getting rid of about 29%. So that's close enough to a third to me. Definitely feel ready to part ways with all of these, but I also, just looking at all the ones I'm keeping, I'm really happy to be keeping all of them. So I would say that was a pretty successful declutter. I think that is all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and decluttering with me. Next category in the series will be, I think, bronzer and highlighter. I think I'm going to group those two together because I don't have quite as many of those. So stay tuned for that and all the rest of my declutters. Make sure you're subscribed if you don't want to miss any. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying my channel, I do also have a Patreon and a channel membership if you would like to support my channel and also get some access to bonus content. I would love to have you over there as well. Otherwise, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!